In a world of Johnnies, Timmies, and Spikes, we must all arrive at the win condition.
Gaining hundreds of life off of one red mana.
The most important thing about this Brawl flavor play of the year.
This is, like I said, an ultimatum. There are haters abound. And you know what I say? Sit on it.
5-color Joda into Zakama. Yeah, that's right. I'll pay 5 to untap 9 lands.
Hello again, and welcome back to the Win Condition Podcast, your source for lore, news, and brews in the Magic the Gathering community. My name is Sean. I'm your host. I'm joined by my co-host, Greg. How's it going, Greg?
Doing all right today, Sean.
Wonderful. Greg, we made it. It's episode 50, halfway to 100. I am excited.
2 more weeks and we've been doing this for a year now.
I know, right?
Feels
That's
weird.
crazy. And I mean, no better way to help celebrate the 50th episode. I mean, we got a boatload of things to talk about today, including the new Dominaria story. We have our contest winners coming up here. We'll be going over that a little later on this episode.
We will.
Yeah, I mean, before we really get things moving, let's remind everybody that this show is brought to you by Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com, where you can head over there, order your Dominaria booster boxes and any singles you need, and use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps, saving you 10% off your purchase of $10 or more, free shipping on orders over $100, which will then help contribute to future show giveaways. All right, well, we've all been waiting for it, so without further ado, let's head on over into Lore Corner.
Oh man, this story, this is the first part. This has all been written by Martha Wells, if you did not know that.
In fact, I think you mentioned that to us in a previous episode, that Wizards was reaching out to other authors of famous pieces to help contribute to the Magic story.
I think they're starting to realize how many people are actually enjoying this stuff. Anyhow, without really further ado, I think we need to jump into talking about this story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got plenty to talk about here. So, our first view of Dominaria, save the clip we had on the supposed Weatherlight and the end of the Rivals of Ixalan story, we join Sadaj, the cleric of the Cabal, and his stronghold, Hall of Worship. It's a very dark scene. We get a group of Cabal coming in here, led by the leader known as Needle. And, Sadaj is like, you've returned. I hope it was worthwhile. And Needle goes, I bring you a gift. It's a gift for the Scion of Darkness. Sadaj goes, a gift? What is it? And Needle looks down and hands him a blade called the Soul Drinker. And Needle begins to say, the one who forged the sword and killed an elder dragon and absorbed his strength. And then Sadaj said, stop! Who used it to kill an elder dragon? As if questioning, what he was about to say. And then Needle says, it was the Planeswalker, Dak and Black. And then Sadaj interrupts him and said, it was Belzenok. Belzenok forged it. Belzenok slayed the elder dragon. Belzenok. So you can kind of tell that this Cabal stronghold is in strong worship of the demon Belzenok. So, and then Needle added, this is his sword, Belzenok, king of Urborg, demon lord. I return it to him. And Sadaj says, very good. And he takes the sword from his hands, and he says, you have earned your reward. And his reward is death.
Oh, yeah.
So Sadaj, weaves a spell, and the skin peels from Needle's chest as the spell sort of digs into his heart. And so his reward for bringing back this great sword is death. And other Cabal look upon him and feel that they should be so lucky someday to have his fate.
Man, what a screwed up Cole.
Yeah, you're telling me, not my idea of a good time. But speaking of good times, let's go on to a lighter note here.
Okay, so we go to the second part of this story. We meet up with Joyra leaning forward on her diving ship's controls. It was an artistic choice of an underwater ship. Looked like a large metal-plated fish. Outside, there was a silvery fish flicked away through the sandy water, confused by the beams of light and strange metal fish. Hattie, her assistant, grabs for support rail as the ship jolts with current. Leaning down, he saw something through the second port. He was an older man. He had come to the Talarian Academy from Jamura. That he had agreed to help her on this wild quest said a lot about his sense of adventure. Joyra adjusts the wheel more carefully and points. There, you see? It seemed obvious to her. The long spine, half buried in the muck and water weeds, was too straight for any natural formation, at least in this bay. But then she knew that shape so well. It was like greeting an old friend. You've got sharp eyes, Hottie said. Pulled down the speaking tube for her. I thought there would be more left of it. Not after so long. Jara took the speaking tube and called to Ziva. I'm directing my lights toward it. Can you see it? Ziva hears her, what she's saying. As she looks around, Joyra wait. Of course, way excited. Hottie was just shaking his legs. Couldn't handle this. Ziva then comes closer, bumbling against the ship, trying to get to the speaking tube. It's lying on a shelf, trapped by saltweed and sand. No rocks. We should have no trouble raising it to the surface, if the price remains the same. Yes, just as I hoped, Joyra thought. It was hard to contain her glee, but they had a lot of hard work ahead. The price is doubled if you can bring it up within 2 days. The merfolk needed the money, and Joyra had no problem paying. Ziva laughs. You'll have it in one. So Joyra sits back in the worn leather of the pilot's seat. The heady combination of relief and renewed purpose made her want to dance. Now we raise the weatherlight.
Ooh, man, that's heavy.
It's heavy.
On all levels. Oh, man, I am so excited that we get to see the weatherlight again.
I think we all are, honestly. I mean...
And I kind of want to see Joyra's diving ship fish as a vehicle. That would be pretty sweet.
That would be great.
All right, so then we jump from Joyra over to some more familiar characters we've seen in more recent past. So we join Gideon, who lands in this kind of swampy marsh area. A big old hole in his shoulder from his encounter with Nicol Bolas earlier. It was just, a perfect depiction of death and failure, and Gideon feels that it's a very fitting considering, the recent actions he just endured. So then he looks around, and he's got his companions. He sees Liliana, Chandra, and Nissa are kind of hanging out nearby, and they're just like trying to collect themselves after everything that just happened. And they're all like, oh, wow, yeah, this definitely didn't go according to plan. And so Liliana is just like, well, hey, after Nicol Bolas kind of slapped you around like a child's toy, I mean, like, what do you expect? So Gideon was too much in pain to really feel like fighting any battle of wits here with Liliana. And then Chandra, pokes in, where's Jace? And they're like, oh, well, he was on Amonkhet, but, we saw him leave. Nobody knows. He says, we're going to meet here. And this is like, oh, he's not coming. He's given up. And Gideon's like, no, he wouldn't do that. And then they're like, I told you we shouldn't have gone to Amonkhet. Johnny said so. And so they're kind of just, bouncing back and forth between each other like, well, you said this and you said that. And then Liliana's like, oh, well, it wasn't a disaster. We killed Razaketh. And then Nissa really starts to dig into Liliana like, we were there to do something, and you took us there early so we could kill Razaketh and help you. This is all your, selfish plot. Liliana's kind of like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, it is a demon, and I had to kill him, but... in order to take out Nicol Bolas, I need to use the Chain Veil, and in order to get myself a full power, I need to take out my demons so that I can, be a full power so I can kill Nicol Bolas. And they're just kind of at odds with each other right now. And Nissa's like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm renouncing the Gatewatch. I got my own world to protect. You guys do your own thing. I'm out. And they're like, no, wait. And then Nissa takes off. And then Chandra's like, you know what? I'm just not powerful enough to fight Nicol Bolas right now. I need to go train. So she's like, all right, peace. I'm out. And she leaves. And Liliana is like, oh my gosh, my allies that are supposed to help me kill Belzenok, my last demon, they're leaving. And Gideon's kind of just sitting there again with a hole in his shoulder like, hey, what are we going to do next? And Liliana's just kind of like, you know what? I kind of need to kill Belzenok so I can be freed, and then we can, take out Nicol Bolas. Right. And then she's expecting Gideon to kind of fight back, kind of like Chandra and Nissa, and Gideon's kind of like, okay. Then Liliana's like, wait, what? Okay, awesome. Well, you know what? Let me heal you. And Gideon's like, what the hell? You can heal people? So Liliana says, the list of things you don't know could fill all the archives on Dominaria. Now come on. So she takes Gideon and decides to go on and bring him about to try to heal him.
So Liliana's in retrospect thinking to herself, this is yet another disaster. Nissa quit in rage, Chandra flouncing off, and now the only person she's got is a half-wit that's following her. She knows she has to kill Belzenlock first. She casts a sideway glance at Gideon. Well, whatever happened, she couldn't let him realize she had to run from the battle just as Nissa accused her. As they're moving up, they come closer to a town. This Deathcloak town. Marsh around it, woven mist. The sight of this place had been a shock to Liliana. It was a completely changed place. She couldn't believe that it was Vess, her town of Vess. At least it wasn't completely deserted. There were some people there. Some goat. Something was on a roof. It had wings and feathers. It was a Nathan. Must be a part of the local militia or something. Around the next turn, she found a broad plaza, surrounded by tall houses, all in disrepair, some stained glass still there. There were people. They stared curiously at Liliana and Gideon. They were quite well armed, but nobody was hostile towards them. Well, this was the center of the town. It should be bustling. What happened here? Gideon, of course, asked, what is it? Liliana, not showing any weakness, is nothing. Gideon's like, if we're gonna do this, you need to be honest. If you're not going to be honest, it's not going to work. Liliana snaps back at her, saying there's no grand conspiracy, it's just that it's changed. The last time I was here, this town was surrounded by a forest. Gideon's brow drew down as he took in the plaza. Why couldn't you just say that? Because it's nothing, Liliana says through gritted teeth. That's exactly my point. He winces as he's in pain. Why were you here? It's where I was born. She ignored his startled expression. Come on, before you fall down. You're too heavy for me to drag.
Good old meat slab.
Mm-hmm.
Big and beefy as he does. So Liliana gets Gideon to an inn. It was definitely functioning, but not as, quaint as some inns you might assume in different towns. But they had no choice. So they gave him a room on the first floor as they smartly saw that Gideon couldn't really climb stairs in his state. So it was pretty much a room that is the bare essentials. You got a bed, you got accommodations, not much else. And Liliana quickly asked, give me your healing supplies and bandages and anything you have. I need to heal this guy. And so it's a family-owned inn, and with, the patriarch running it. And his kids running around doing various tasks, bringing him the healing stuff, the bandages. And Liliana says to them as, they're helping her, what happened here? This place has changed. And they say, it's the Cabal. They mean to take over the whole world. And Liliana's like, whatever. Surely they're exaggerating. I mean, that's ridiculous. But sure enough, looking around at the swamp that she's encountered here that used to be her homeland, it seems a little bit possible that the strength of the Cabal has grown quite large over the years that she's been gone, because she's been gone a long time. And so they're recounting some encounters, some battles with her, and they say, you see what their influence has done to the Caligo forest over the year. And she goes, the whole forest? All the way to the river? And past. The river silted up, impassable. It's Caligo Morass now, and they have a new leader, a powerful Lick. And the Church of Sarah came to help, and there was a great battle only a few days ago, but the Cabal routed us, just completely decimated our forces, as he runs to get some more wood for the fire. Another girl returns with some healing herbs. This is all we have. So, Liliana, working with what little she has, starts to do some healing work on Gideon. Of course, Liliana previously in her hometown, years and years and years ago, was trying to heal someone else. And so this process kind of was bearing deep in her soul in terms of what was going on right now. So she asks the girl who brings her some supplies, does anyone here remember the House of Vess? The girl paused to consider and says, there's ghost stories about the old ruined manor in the morass, about the undead son and the evil daughter who fled. And then Liliana cuts her off. No, that part I know. I want the true history of what happened afterwards. And the girl says, no, haven't heard anything about what happened afterwards. I can ask around if you like. She's like, no, that's not important. So she's kind of just like, Gideon's like, what's up? She's like, no, don't worry about it. They don't have what I need here in terms of healing supplies. I'll go find it. And she's like, don't worry, Gideon. Don't think I'm going to abandon you. And Gideon's like, oh, I don't fear that. You need me to kill Belzenok. And Liliana kind of finds herself at a loss of words here. No quippy comeback. So she heads out looking for the herbs needed to cure Gideon.
So as she sets out into the morass, the Caligo morass now, she's looking for these herbs that quite possibly no longer exist. And once past the ruins, she looks in the marsh. She actually found the herbs on a surviving island of higher ground. She, of course, straightened up, got them, and she remembered something that the Ravenman said. You tried to help Josu like this, with these same herbs. What if I do this to Gideon? What if I'm the reason that Josu is dead? I mean, there's nothing there now. It's just a legend, a ghost story. How can anything be left?
Josu, of course, being her brother.
Yes. Of course, she can't deal with these emotions. They're inconvenient. They're in her way. So, she starts kind of going back to town after she finds her herbs. She just finds herself walking right back to the old manor. And there it was. I mean, a little worse for wear, but the house, it was still there. How can this be? I mean, it's been thousands of years. And she just can't figure it out. This house should be in total ruin. She walks in, and of course, there's the scent of blood. But in the center room, there's a huge charred symbol on the floor. She couldn't tell exactly what it was, but it was obviously a powerful necromantic spell. And whatever had happened here was no coincidence. Night had fallen as she gets back to the outskirts. She heard fighting before she reached the plaza. The attackers were wearing black armor with spikes and sharp points. Not like the Benelish white and silver and stained glass as possible. Undead knights from the Cabal. Liliana thought in disgust. There would be a Cabal cleric here somewhere. Gideon subtly tumbling out of the shadows near the inn, rolling to his feet and staggering. Of course, weakened by his wounds, no armor and blood-stained bandages, he is trying to fight back. An undead knight on an undead horse charges in. Liliana sees this. Gideon's flinging himself in between him and another scared child. Of course, Liliana thinks, you'll have to do better, Belzenlock. I can defeat this easy. As she completely desiccates the corpse and the horse. A revenant charges her, and before he could get to her, is rotted completely through. Then as she lifts her hand to destroy the last knight, something whispers in her mind. The void awaits. Liliana froze, her heart pounding. This has to be a trick. The undead knight's master had to be the Lich, who had devastated Caligo for the Cabal. And then an image of the Lich's face burns before her. It was Josu. Liliana's heart seizes in her chest. It can't be. No. I won't believe this. Her rage and dismay snapped the connection. The knight's corpse exploded in armor and rotting bones flew across the plaza. The townspeople who caught the human cleric and pinned him. Her voice rough with rage, she demanded, "Where is Josu? What has Belzenlock done to him?" She was barely aware of Gideon moving to her side. watching her with concern. The cleric glanced a laugh, then choked out. He knew. Our demon lord, the sign of darkness. He knew you were coming. He has made your precious brother into his servant, the commander of his unholy forces. Josu serves Belzenlock? The necromancer right in Vest Manor had been used to turn Josu from mindless undead into a powerful lich. He serves our lord. He, as the cleric gurgles a blood-filled throat, slumped lifelessly on the pavement. Liliana stares down in growing fury, overriding the horror of what had happened to Josu. She would not allow this. Her brother would not be Belzenlock's slave. She would free him, no matter what it took. You'll pay for this, Belzenlock, no matter what I have to do. You will pay.
Ooh.
Talk about some stuff.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, your brother is commanding the very army that you are trying to destroy, and you created this monstrosity by trying to heal your brother and instead causing him to turn into this undead fiend who is now a lick leading Belzenlock's army. All right, and that's the end of chapter 1 here of the Dominaria story. Let's regroup and continue on with chapter 2 because Wizards was so gracious enough to let us have 2 chapters in 1 week of this brand new story. So we have Liliana again walking through the morass as she's now convinced that the Raven Man is playing a part in all of this.
Yeah.
So Liliana strode through the morass and is basically calling out the Raven Man, you know, saying, "Show yourself, face me." Eventually, he comes out and he says, "Liliana, I need you to look within yourself to find the answer to your questions," because she's frantically asking him, "Did you do this? Did you tell Belzenlock how my brother died? How did he raise him again?" And the Raven Man's just saying, you know the answers to all of this. And Liliana's just blaming him, saying, "This is your fault. This is all because of you. I want you to help me fix this and lay Josu to rest and make everything right." And the Raven Man just says back to her, "I'm sorry, it can't be done. You know, if you miss your brother so much, you should have agreed to follow me." And Liliana's like, why? Why would I have done that? You know, you tricked me into changing him. You did all of this. Why would I ever trust you? And his answer just, continues. He's like, "I think you know why." And so he just disappears after that. Just brief encounter, and he's gone. And Liliana just thinks, useless. Ugh, I can't believe this guy. So she's thinking to herself, you know what? I could use the chain veil to free my brother Josu, to kill Belzenlock, to relieve Josu of his torment, freeing him, righting the wrongs that I have done, and making everything positive and okay again. So I am going to harness the power of the chain veil. I am going to kill Belzenlock, and I am going to free my brother. But first, in order to make all this happen, she had to lure Josu back to Vest Manor, where the initial transformation of Josu into an undead being took place, where she could finally lay him to rest.
As the morning sun was breaking over the patched roofs of town, she reached the inn again. She found Gideon with a borrowed sword going through his motions of fighting. Gideon sheathes the sword and looks at her and asks, "News?" She's like, "What?" She frowned. "Well, the innkeep said you went out before dawn. I thought you were scouting out Belzenlock's forces." "I was looking for information, yes, but I have a problem. Closer to home, shall we say. The lich leading the Cabal forces in this area is my brother Josu. I made Josu undead many years ago. It was an accident. I was trying to heal him, and it happened. The spells, the dark magic, was part of what ignited my spark. I involuntarily planeswalked away. I haven't been back here since. I need to lay my brother to rest." Again, she was expecting Gideon to leave. "Yes, that's our next step, obviously." Obviously? Belzenlock is using the Cabal to threaten all of Dominaria. If we can unmake Josu, not only will your brother be free, but the Cabal will lose his leadership and Caligo Moraz. This will give the Benos forces a chance to regroup and force Belzenlock and the Cabal off Arona. Gideon glanced up at her and smiled grimly. It's a good start. I'll need the Chain Veil to unmake Josu. After that, I won't have the strength to use it against Belzenlock. That can't be helped, says Gideon. We'll have to think of another way to destroy Belzenlock. Nothing about this was ever going to be simple or easy. We both knew that. I'll need to get Josu back to Vest Manor to unmake him, but I'm not sure how. He's leading the Cabal forces, surrounded by them. For that, I think I know exactly what we need to do.
Liliana is just flabbergasted by Gideon's optimism. And Gideon's like, yeah, I know you're upset. You're not putting too much effort into your insults. And Liliana's like, I'm not upset, I'm plotting. And Gideon just kind of takes it all in stride. And as they walk, they encountered just the person that Gideon was looking to see. It was an angel. And this angel's name is Rael. Gideon's like, I'm Gideon, and this is Liliana. We know you're Rael, and we want to help you, lead your Benalish forces against the Cabal and destroy them. And Rael's like, well, you could probably tell that we've lost already. And Gideon's like, I understand, but we're here not to just offer you more strength of arms, but we have, more powerful weapons at work. And Liliana's like, we know that, they're led by a powerful Lich named Josu. And Rael's like, you know the name of their commander? And trying not to blow their cover that it's actually Liliana Vess, Gideon's like, not only that, but we have a way to lay him to rest. And Rael's kind of like, go on. So they actually get some agreement here from this angel about, reuniting her forces to go up against Josu and the Cabal once again. So they're gathering their forces, and they're looking around and they say, any other mages here? Gideon asks. And a mage named Corinne, actually a Tolarian mage, steps forward and says, I'm a mage. And Gideon's like, oh, okay. And obviously it's not like a overpowering, ridiculously strong mage. It's kind of just like a, hey, you know what? Hey, what's up? I'm here. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, maybe we can't just rest our attack in the hands of this little puny mage, but it's something. So, they're like, what do they have? Gideon's like, what are we up against? And a couple of the Benalish soldiers, report back to him, and they say, well, they have dread shades and skin witches. And Gideon's like, what the heck are those? And they go, well, skin witches, are essentially that. They steal skin, they wear it, and it's kind of gross. And Gideon's like, what about dread shades? And they say, well, that's different. Dread shades are very strong. They can change shapes. They can be gigantic, or they can be small enough to crawl into people's bodies to reanimate them. And they're like, whoa, okay, well, we'd better come up with a plan. And then Gideon's like, hold on. Hey, you, mage, can you make me look like a dread shade? And the mage is like, well, yeah. He's like, all right, well, I think we might have a plan. And Liliana looks over and knows exactly what he's doing and goes, that's a delightful idea.
So, Rael and the others left to get in position, and Gideon asks Liliana, are you ready for this? Of course I am. Now try to stay alive while I take care of Josu. Gideon sighed, and she slips away to the house. He went to join Corin as Corin started casting his spell. He went to grab a triple-bladed Cabal spear across his back to make the illusion seem more real. Once he felt the illusion settle, it felt like a wet blanket. As he walks over the high grass, he felt it tug. It feels so weird. And then the Cabal force shows up. So that's what a Dreadshade looks like, Gideon thought. As if he didn't already have enough fodder for his nightmares. Thank you, Ashok. Well, Gideon's just like, alright, we're going to do this. He starts moving forward. A Gremlin calls out, "Witch, what are you doing here?" Suddenly in front of him, he saw his friends, the irregulars from the foreigners' quarters in Akros, and his heart froze. No, it's not real. This has to be dementia magic over a wild area. The Gremlin near the shade yelled, "That's not..." Gideon kills him. Well, no. He lunges a hole into the shade, pissing it off. Before he reached the trees, Gideon spared a glance upward to make sure the Avon Scout flying high had seen him and would know to signal rail to send the Benelux forces after the Gremlin, since the Dread Shade was going to be going after him. He pelts downhill, and coming to an abrupt halt, there was a hag-like figure in front of him. Skin witches. Then he saw the faces of the skins tied around the closest witch's neck. The eyes rolled and watered in pain and terror. Some foul magic keeping the victims alive. So Gideon went with his second thought, and as she lifted her hands, cast a spell, he drew his sword and lunged. As he's there fighting them, the Dread Shade shows up behind them and tears a skin witch in half like it was nothing, flinging the body to two sides. Then it grabs another and just drinks the life from it. By now, Gideon's illusion had vanished, and his first thought is, I hope Corin's not dead. And the Dread Shade looks at Gideon and is like, wait, what? Wait, weren't you I don't know what's going on. The plan hadn't worked quite right yet. But there's no reason that Gideon couldn't continue making the Dread Shade upset. Liliana was at the edge of the manor's grounds. She heard the fighting and the Avon flying over the morass. She could hear Gideon killing something loud and angry, but she could spare no attention for anything but Josu. Then she felt it. A cold wind. It was Josu. But she couldn't see it all. He was locked away in this lich. She sent words to the mine. Josu Vess, I am here, and you know me. And he snaps to her, anger and disbelief. This is a trick. A roar of psychic rage reaches her. You just can't tell that it's Josu other than his face, and that's hidden by a helm. So it is you, sister. She answers, I wish I could recognize you as easily, brother. Your master has changed you. It was you who changed me. You did this to me. Her corrupted healing spell had somehow allowed Belzenlock to raise him, and she only wanted to help. She could feel the power of the Inaki and the chain veil flowing through her like a blast of fire. In an instant, taking her strength with it, her body suddenly as weak as an unstrung puppet, as she saw the wane of Josu's body as he ages in front of her and decays to a point where she can really see that it was Josu. With his last breath, he tells her of everything that he did after she turned him undead, and how she was the destroyer of House Vess. It was all her fault. He had killed their sister, mother, father, cousins, brothers, uncles, grandparents. Every single one of them she had killed because of him. She couldn't help. It was horrifying to her. It was too much. It was an accident. I was tricked. But whatever that fact is, she did it. And he heard it. He heard all of it. She wouldn't weaken. She had survived worse than this. And Belzenlock would pay for his part in it. Pay for her brother's suffering. Pay for the realization that she had caused her family's destruction. Her voice hard with fury, she said, if Belzenlock thinks this will stop me, he's a fool. I will pry open his stronghold, slaughter his gremlins, and destroy his legacy, no matter what it takes. If I must be a curse, then let me be Belzenlock's.
Revenge.
A murder most foul.
Absolute rage flowing through Liliana right now. Her brother having been corrupted by both herself and Belzenlock, and then used against all of her hometown. It's just an absolute tragic story. And here she is, unable to fix the wrongs of the past, and now she has to live with it. I mean, could we see Liliana all of a sudden take up an emotion of responsibility within herself, or is she just going to brush this aside and say, oh, this is all Belzenlock's fault? I didn't do this.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So anyway, we have our first 2 episodes of Dominaria under our belt. Very, very interesting. Can't wait to see where they take it from here. We saw the Raven Man. We saw members of the Gatewatch flee. Jace is still absent. And here's Liliana coming to grips with her past and her brother finally eliminated, but not necessarily at ease. Oh my gosh, Dominaria has a whole lot in store for us, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for the future.
It is so cool. It really is.
It is. It is. Well, moving along from the story, we've got a couple of news and announcements and current events to cover. So let's head on over to As Foretold.
So as we move to As Foretold, there's just so much information going on. I mean, with Dominaria getting released, they talked about the leak a couple weeks ago now. But we're starting to get some actual art for these cards that were leaked. And I'm excited for one. And that's the new Buy a Box promo.
Well, yeah. I mean, before we really dive into the Buy a Box promo, there's just a whole lot to unpack here in terms of, let's start with MTG Arena. We've got the NDA lifting as of March 22nd. I believe that was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Did you get to watch some streams?
I did, and you know what? Crazy enough, I mean, the second highest viewed streamer when I logged on was Newmont the Nummy, a very, very prominent and popular streamer. But the top viewed streamer for MTG Arena, I apologize as I forget his name, but he was a MOBA player. I don't know exactly if it was League of Legends or Dota or something like that, but he had almost 10,000 viewers watching him play MTG Arena. And his title of his stream was Back After a Decade with Magic the Gathering. So this is obviously a player who played, 10 plus years ago, left the game for, other games, and now is trying his hand back in the beta of MTG Arena and is attracting a wealth of viewers to his stream. Now, I mean, how do you feel about this, Greg? Is this like a good thing? Should it be more prominent for just the solo MTG streamers? Like, what's your take on this?
Well, I mean, we already know that MTG Arena is Wizards of the Coast foray into getting into esports.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of talk about getting into the esport arena and how valid that is, but
So this seems like a great idea to get into that esports arena, honestly. I mean, there's no better way than trying your hand with established esports people. And it's not like it's costing them any money to do this. This is free advertising that all they had to do is say, hey, we want you to play our game. And like, I can play your game, get some subscribers, people will pay me, they love watching it, you get your game out. Hey, it's a total win-win.
Yeah, and this brings to light a whole nother idea of how many people out there streaming on Twitch with massive amounts of following used to play Magic the Gathering, and is MTG Arena enough to get them back interested and involved? Because obviously Hearthstone competes in the world of esports, but is Arena enough to get Magic involved in that esports game? You've had kind of a divided opinion where Magic is more like poker, where it's not going to be involved in the esports world. It'll have its own niche market. And then you have the other people that are like, oh, it's esports or bust. We're going digital. We're going big, and this is what's going to save Magic in terms of the digital age. I, for one, think that it is fantastic that it's getting more exposure. I hope that more streamers look at this and say, yeah, I'll try it at least to see how it goes, giving Magic that much more exposure. I mean, 10,000 people looking at Magic through the eyes of MTG Arena is absolutely a win-win for both the paper-playing community and the digital community just by getting the word out there. I mean, I think it's absolutely wonderful.
No, it's terrific. I mean, I'm happy to see that they are having people other than Magic professionals playing, because in all honesty, how do you reach new groups of people? You advertise on TV? No. That's not where you're going to get people.
Yep.
I mean, I think with what they're doing a great way. It's a great way to get more people interested in doing this. And exactly what this is, it's going to be able to get people in at the ground level because guess what? That's what they want.
Right. And people will watch a stream for two reasons, in my opinion. Number one, if the person is good at the game. And number two, if the person is charismatic enough to want to watch for an extended period of time. And if we can get more people playing MTG Arena that interact with their audiences and are charismatic enough to keep people watching, then absolutely, by all means, like, you know, have have celebrities who used to play Magic jump on and play MTG Arena to get some viewership going. I mean, I'm all for this. This is a wonderful, wonderful move in the right direction, especially in the digital front that Magic is trying to pursue right now. And then, moving on from Magic Arena, we got to see a brand new flagship edition of a new product Wizards is announcing. And Greg, what is this new product?
Well, that new product is the signature spellbook Jace. Now, this is going to be 8 cards, but it will have 9 cards in each pack. So each of these 8 cards are going to be designed with artwork focused around Jace Beleren, our Sky Guy Planeswalker of the day. Yes, I had a loss of words there. Anyhow,
he's blue, dabba dee, dabba die. Now continue.
Exactly that. But your 9th card in the pack will be a random foil from the 8 other cards. So that means you could get a foil Jace or a foil Mystical Tutor with Jace on it. I think this is great. A lot of people, of course, are having problems with that because Magic people always have issues. But
wasn't the MSRP on this around $20?
It is $20.
Right. So you could spend $20 and get this guaranteed set of cards, and who knows, you might wind up with a foil Jace Beleren, or you might wind up with a foil Negate.
Yeah.
Either way, it's going to cause people to want to buy multiples of this product to get the foils in this brand new frame. There's a brand new frame. The art on this frame is amazing.
It is really cool.
Yeah, I think that you're going to see a lot of people, and they even said this is geared towards the serious blue mage. I think that it's geared towards any Magic player that really values a high quality product and, you know, good art and altars and whatnot. These are going to be very sought after, in my opinion. I think this is a great move. Don't try to call it a cash grab. This is Wizards experimenting. You know, they're throwing something out there that's interesting, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. Whatever. You know, it's very, very exciting for me personally. I know I like to play a lot of blue spells, and I don't even think I own a Threads of Disloyalty, to be honest. And so the ability to get that in conjunction with a Mystical Tutor, like you said, Greg, and another Jace Beleren, all this for just $20 with a random foil, that's very enticing.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's an exciting time to be a Magic player.
It is. And
unless you have a tight pocketbook.
Exactly. And we're going to be seeing these spell books for a lot of the prominent Planeswalker characters, probably the Gatewatch, as we move forward. So you're going to get a spell book for Chandra, you'll probably get a spell book for Gideon, you'll probably get a spell book for Liliana, etc., as we move on through the Planeswalkers. Nicol Bolas. Oh my god, don't tease me. I can tell you right now. Here's your Planeswalker pack. Here's your spellbook for Nicol Bolas. You're gonna get Cruel Ultimatum. You're gonna get Slave of Bolas.
Yep.
You're gonna get Grixis Charm. You're gonna get, well, I don't know if they're all gonna be solid Grixis spells, but if they do make a Bolas one, that's gonna be pretty flippin' sweet because they're gonna have to have a Nicol Bolas Planeswalker in there. Is it gonna be from Hour of Devastation?
No, it's definitely gonna be the original.
The original from Conflux? Okay. As we see from Beleren. Yes, you're probably right in that respect. So
the original, the namesake.
There you go. All right, so spell books are here, and much, much more to come from that. Now, Greg, let's come back to what you were talking about earlier.
I think we just got to go past it and not even worry about it.
if you buy a box of Dominaria, which I guarantee you tons of people are going to do out there,
Yeah.
you will receive what?
If I remember correctly, it is a 6-drop Minotaur Cleric in red and white. That is a
Legendary creature.
Fire Song and Sun Speaker, if I remember
There
correctly.
you go. What does it do?
Instants and sorcery spells you cast have a lifelink.
Ooh.
What?
And this is a Boros commander that
Yeah.
doesn't involve attacking?
So it says red instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. So that Blasphemous Act, yeah, it's got lifelink.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Talk about gaining hundreds of life off of
Right.
one red mana.
And then it says whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, Fire Song and Sunspeaker deals 3 damage to target creature or player.
Oh,
You know-
man.
I've got an interesting card here. Lightning Helix.
Lightning Helix?
Does that do 6
Absolutely.
damage and then gain you 6 life for 2 mana?
I think it does.
I
think it does.
It really does. But there's something really special about Fire Song and Sunspeaker. This legendary creature will not show up in packs of Magic. Matter of fact, the
What?
only way you can get this is by buying that box.
It is.
Or trading in the secondary market. But hey, if you want to get it day one, go buy a box.
Exactly.
Especially from our sponsors.
There you go. Head over to Flipside Gaming, buy a box of Dominaria, get yourself a Fire Song and Sunspeaker promo buy a box card, because that's the only place that you're going to be able to get it. Like
But
Greg
remember,
said,
you have to pre-order it.
Yes, you can't get it in Planeswalker decks. I mean, if you're really lucky, maybe you'll find somebody who will be willing to trade you one. But the supply on this versus other buy a box promos, I think is going to be a lot smaller than you may think. There's going to be a lot of Dominaria sold out there, but this is the only way you can get the card. So, if you want it, pre-order a box. Absolutely. And again, like I said, this is the first Boros commander that doesn't involve attacking. If you want to make a commander deck off of this guy, you get some pretty insane options. Greg, you mentioned Lightning Helix. I said Blasphemous Act. Anything that deals damage.
Boros Charm.
How about Bonfire of the Damned? I mean,
What?
that's just the possibilities are so endless.
Wait.
So
If I gain life from it, so if I Beacon of Immortality and double my life, I get to do you 3 damage?
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? This actually feeds in to another announcement.
Healing Salve is actually good now with this card. It is a 1-mana Lightning Helix.
Yes, Healing Salve is all of a sudden amazing. The best 1-drop. It's better than Ancestral Recall. Here we go. This is it. Oh, and don't forget to mention the fact that with the preview of Fire Song and Sunspeaker, we see there is a brand new legendary creature card frame. What?
Oh yeah, that's so cool. And they're not just doing it only on like creature cards. It's going to be on legendaries. So for instance, that's going to be on your legendary lands. That's going to be on your legendary spells.
Ooh. That is very exciting. I mean, there's been quite a few new rules that have come out with the release of the release notes for Dominaria in regards to legendary sorceries, historic cards, as well as legendary creatures. There's going to be a big focus on the legendary mechanic, or should I say super type of cards as we move forward. And we haven't seen all the cards yet from Dominaria. There's still probably plenty of legendary cards we have not seen.
Oh yeah.
So that much is very exciting. And I cannot wait to see what they blow the lid off moving forward.
What's this new format we've been hearing about?
Okay, well, we're actually we're gonna mention this in our news segment. The new format, as debuted in an article by Gavin Verhey, is called Brawl! Exclamation point.
Wait, is this where I get together with my friends, we play with some Nintendo characters and beat each other up?
Exactly. It's Smash Brothers, but for Magic. Now, let's go over the details of the format in the Brewmaster's Corner.
Oh, man.
So, we as Magic players have been given an ultimatum. Yes, we have been challenged with an ultimatum by Gavin Verhey to undertake this brand new format that is supported by Wizards called Brawl.
Oh,
Now,
gosh, it's so exciting.
it is. It's very exciting. Now, Brawl is essentially Commander, but there's a few differences. It is standard legal cards only. This includes banned cards. So you can't play Smuggler's Copter, you can't play Attune with Aether, you can't play Ramunap Ruins.
Oh, come on. I really want to play with Aetherworks Marvel.
You cannot play with Aetherworks Marvel. I am sorry.
Please?
It is a 60-card deck format with one card being your commander, following the same rules as regular commander, where it costs you 2 extra to play every single time you try to play it in addition to the first time. There's also the life total. You start with 30.
One more. I think you missed something there with the legendary that can be your commander.
Oh, you're right, Greg. What did I miss?
You missed the most important thing about this Brawl flavor play of the year. You can have a Planeswalker as your general.
What? Oh my god, people have been wanting to do this in Commander for years, but you're telling me that I can have a Planeswalker as my commander in Brawl?
Nicol Bolas, the God Pharaoh, could be your commander. Huatli, Warrior Poet, can be your commander.
Or Radiant Champion or Angrath? Oh my
thing.
gosh. This just
Nissa,
opens up a
Vital Force.
Saheeli Rai?
Saheeli Rai.
God. Why not? This is This is honestly
no Saheeli Cat combo. Sorry.
No Saheeli Cat combo. Felidar Guardian is banned. And plus, Felidar Guardian is not in Saheeli Rai's colors. But this is honestly a brewer's dream come true because it still is the singleton format, except for basic lands. So this is amazing.
This is really exciting. Now, you got to remember, it is a 60-card format. It's not a 100-card. So you have a little bit smaller amount of things you can play with, and it is a less life cap. It is 30 life instead of 40. Although, one thing I did note, I did not see anything about general damage. So there's no commander damage to kill a player.
Oh, I did not see that either. That's interesting. I wonder if they will respond to that with any further errata on the rules.
I mean, it's always
Brawl.
possible, but personally, I think this is a playtest in a design space where they're making it so that these newer players can get in here and play without spending hundreds of dollars.
And that's Greg, you bring up another wonderful point here. You can build a Brawl deck in like right now in standard for, I want to even say, less than $100.
Oh, easily.
What other format can you build a deck under $100 that is competitive and effective? I mean,
I can do an EDH.
I'm going to say, okay, yeah, if you want to say Pauper, well, good luck, because a lot of the most competitive Pauper decks are now actually getting quite expensive.
Yes, they are.
The point is, this is, like I said, an ultimatum. This is a challenge. This is something that Wizards has said they have been playing inside their own walls, and it's become very popular. And there's already, this is obvious. If you're on the internet, if you're on social media, there are haters abound saying, oh, it's tiny leaders. Oh, it's Commander Light. Oh, it's a rotating Commander format. Who wants to do that? And you know what I say? Sit on it. Because this is exciting. Like, this is seriously a new way to look at Magic. This is a way to get newer players into building one of these brand new deck. And the one-of format. I have been such a proponent of Commander and the singleton format such that it breeds diversity in gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. I get it. You want to have consistency in your competitive decks. You want to have 4 of the best cards all the time. But if you get thrown into a game where there's a little bit more variance, a little bit more unknown, well, then guess what? All of a sudden, you're not going to be sitting on that guarantee of, I know I have 1/10 of a chance of drawing this card in my deck. That goes out the window. It's
Yep.
just fun. Pure, unadulterated fun. Unadulterated except for some banned cards. Fun. But I am very much looking forward to building some Brawl decks and seeing what we can do with it. You know,
I've already
like,
got a planned out one.
oh yeah, oh for sure. And I know I'm excited. While Kaladesh is still legal, once Dominaria hits, I definitely want to build my Carnifacts Brawl deck.
What, you're
with
not going to
Karn.
build Joda Fist?
Dude, Joda, I swear I still want to
mean-
build Sahili. I want to build Kumbal.
Hold on. I got one for Brawl. This is going to make you have a laugh. So
Yep.
it's going to be 5-color Joda into Zakama.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
could
that's
see
right.
it.
I'll pay 5 to untap 9 lands.
I could totally see it. And, you know, a lot of people who have been playing Commander already may look at this and say, you know, okay, well, I'm just going to stick to my Commander deck because I've got my staples that I know how to use and they're already powerful enough. It's like, fine, go do your Commander thing. But those of us who want to try this new format out because it is something brand new and exciting, you know, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to give it a try and we'll see what happens, you know? Because obviously the people who have been knocking Brawl already haven't even tried it.
No.
You know, you can't have built a Brawl deck and played numerous games in a day. I'm sorry. If you're too busy hating on it, then do your thing. But I, for one, am excited. And Greg, it sounds like you're excited too. So maybe we'll be able to get some Brawl decks together and post some videos on our YouTube channel of some of our Brawl matches.
Maybe.
As we move forward here. Maybe.
Maybe.
We can only hope. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, Greg, in our Brewmaster segment, I've been thinking a lot. And
I don't know. This is never a good thing.
for those of us, yeah, right. I thought I smelled something burning. But for those of us who may have been present for previous iterations of Duels of the Planeswalkers that you can download on your console gaming system, or I believe you could get it on Steam as well.
Oh, yeah.
There was a segment that kind of got lost in the mix. And this was a segment, I don't know exactly what you would call it, but it was a series of magic puzzles. You would be presented with a board state, and it was up to you to figure out how to win, given your cards, given your board state, and everything like that.
Or survive the turn.
Or survive the turn. There you go. So what I wanted to do is resurrect that. I wanted to present to you, our listeners, a challenge. I wanted to present to you a puzzle in which I have come up with a solution. If there are other solutions, I would be more than happy to hear them out. But here is our first ever the win condition magic puzzle. And I want to see who all, if you want to let us know what your solution to this is, you can definitely tweet it at us at the win condition. You could even email it to us at thewinconditionpodcast@gmail.com. But without further ado, here's what I came up with. And this is my first one, so, you know, be easy on me. Okay, here's the board state. Your opponent has no cards in hand, a glory bringer on the table, untapped, and you are at 4 life as the player. Your opponent is at 22 life. Okay? You are going to win on this turn. Now, here's the board state that you have out in front of you. Your land base is 5 islands, 1 swamp, 3 mountains. You have in play an inspiring statuary and a Dynavault tower. Your last play, this is during your turn, during your first main phase, you cast Whir of Invention to fetch Paradox Engine. Now, it has Conspire, so you tapped 5 blue and 1 red while tapping your Inspiring Statuary and your Dynavolt Tower to conspire to put your Paradox Engine out onto the battlefield. And your hand consists of Insult to Injury and Claim to Fame. And in your graveyard, you have Wily Goblin. And the puzzle is win on this turn. So, if you want to lay that out, if you want to play it out, go ahead and send us your sequence. Let us know how you did it. And hopefully I was correct on all my details. I did work on this for a little while, but yeah, let us know if you want to solve this, if you like these things, because I absolutely loved making this and I want to do more of them. But yeah, this is our first crack at a little puzzle, little challenge for you all. See if you guys like it, and we may be doing these more in the future. All right, Greg, this is it.
Wait,
the
what?
moment
We're stopping?
The moment that many people have been waiting for. It's time to announce our winners for the giveaway.
Now, before we get to this, how can those winners tell us which cards they want?
Oh, that's right. Okay, so if you want to go and look up if you want to go and look up the deck list for the Forged in Stone Commander pre-constructed deck, send us a list of at least 5 up to 10 cards in order of preference that you would like. And based on the winners we choose, we will send you as many of the cards that you request as possible. Here's how we're going to do it. Who we choose as first, they will get their first choice. Who we choose as second, if their first choice is taken, we'll give them their second. Or we'll give them their first if it wasn't taken. Third will get their first, second, or third based on what's been taken, and so on as we go down the list. So, like I said, we want to give away as many of these cards as possible, and we can fit a lot of them into an envelope. So give us up to 10 cards that you want out of this pre-constructed deck, Forged in Stone. So, Greg?
Yes.
Who's our winner?
So our winner, this is my favorite here. It was Daniel C. He started playing very recently, and he played it was a red-blue storm deck, essentially, that would win with Lightning Strikes, Wee Dragonauts, Kill Fiends, and it was just, he had a lot of fun. And his current play of playing it right now is Thermo Alchemist, Firebrand Archer, and just a bunch of one-mana spells that say draw a card. So ultimately, all he's doing is untapping his creatures to tap them and deal you damage. I've always loved playing this type of play, and I think this is just, it's fun. It's hard to not be fun.
I completely agree. I think that winning in ways that are based not necessarily on straightforward attacking really emphasize a flexible position within Magic and how you can actually win games. And it's also a little bit, I'm a little partial to it, as we did answer a listener email in regards to him building a modern deck that focused around a lot of these cards as well. So, and Izzet definitely holds a place in my heart. So for this first contest, our winner, congratulations, Daniel. You have taken first place here. For second place, we had a a very interesting submission here, and this person, we actually only received an email address, but I think they'll know who they are since they seem to listen to this podcast quite a bit. Thank you very much. Involves 2 cards here, Glacial Chasm and Gibbering Descent. So, for those of you who might not be familiar, Glacial Chasm is a land that has cumulative upkeep, pay 2 life. When Glacial Chasm enters the battlefield, sacrifice a land. So that's pretty heavy. But it says creatures you control can't attack. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. So, that is quite a shield to be put up there, but at a great cost. Now, Gibbering Descent, however, for black enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 1 life and discards a card, but it has Hellbent. skip your upkeep step if you have no cards in hand. And it has Madness for 2 black. If you discard this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its Madness cost or put it into your graveyard. So essentially, with no cards in your hand, you are skipping your upkeep, relieving you of the cost of having to pay 2 life for Glacial Chasm, and you basically don't get damaged at all. And at the beginning of each other player's upkeep, they will lose a life and discard a card. So they won't be able to skip their upkeep. They will slowly whittle their life away and die over the course of a series of turns that will essentially make them descend into madness. Thank you. You know who you are, and we don't have a name, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much for the submission. The creativity is much appreciated, and you will take second place in our contest.
Yes. Moving on down to third place, we have Tim. And he's been playing for a short time, currently playing some standard. But a little while ago, he was playing a red-white humans deck, running things like Metallic Mimic, Hanwar Garrison, and Thalia's Lieutenant. I just love this interaction between Hanwar Garrison and Metallic Mimic. But to really amp it up, he would run Combat Celebrant to get additional triggers from his Hanwar Garrison.
That's awesome.
This is so cool. It just does so much. And, there's so many things you could do with this deck. It's just a lot of fun. Anyhow, this is something that I really enjoyed reading and thinking about. And I just got to say thank you, Tim. You are taking the cake for third.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a very, very powerful combination, too.
Yeah.
And then for fourth place, we have Kyle, who submitted his answer on Twitter. Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate it. And Kyle plays mono green elves.
I'm pretty sure it was green-white.
Well, yeah, true. But he played a Well-Wisher, gaining a whole mess of life. And after he gets north of 50 life, usually, considering he's playing a whole ton of elves, those elves can also help him cast Chord of Calling through the Convoke mechanic, snagging Felidar Sovereign out of his deck to win on his upkeep. And at instant speed, courting at your opponent's end step almost guarantees you the win during your upkeep, saves some immediate interaction.
Yeah.
So that is super cool. I like cards that say you win the game and meeting those certain win conditions. Again, just another twist and turn in the way that you can win in the game of Magic. So Kyle, thank you so much, and you have shored up fourth place in our contest. So there you have it. We ask all 4 of you to send us a list of 10 cards that you want out of this pre-constructed deck forged in stone, and we will do our best to get you as many of those cards as we can.
Definitely.
And thank you so much for entering our contest. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to doing more contests for you guys in the future.
We do. We really do. It's a lot of fun for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
With that being said, we haven't gone that far over as we were expecting. Where can they find you, Sean?
Well, they can find me shopping for Dominaria product on Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com, where any order that I make, probably of Dominaria stuff, over $10, I can use that promo code WINCONDITION, save myself 10% off my purchase with free shipping on orders over $100, and it'll help contribute to future show giveaways.
Oh, that's so cool.
But if you're looking to get a hold of me on social media and chat about anything at all, you can get a hold of me at Twitter. I'm at MTG_Sean. Greg, where can they get you?
I am Noob 2003.
Our show is at The Win Condition. You can email us at thewinconditionpodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram at The Win Condition MTG. Check out our YouTube page. There's a link in the show notes. All right. Well, all that being said, Greg, thanks again. Happy episode 50, brother.
Happy episode 50. In 2 weeks, we'll be celebrating 1 year.
Oh, my gosh. The celebrations just keep coming.
They really do.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned to The Win Condition, and we will talk to y'all next week.